Welcome to our presentation on Newton's third law of motion. Today we are going to break down what this law is all about, show you a cool experiment, and see how it applies to everyday life.
Newton's third law states that for every action there is an equal and opposite reaction. But what does that really mean? Let's break it down. Imagine you're standing on a skateboard and you push against a wall. What happens? You roll backwards. That's because when you exert a force on the wall exerts the equal and opposite force on you. This is Newton's third law.
Isaac Newton developed the third law of motion based on careful observation of how objects interact and earlier foundational work. Throughout his experiment, Newton noted that whenever one object exerts a force on another, the second object exerts an equal and opposite force in return. This principle was built upon previous ideas about momentum transfer during collisions and the concept of inertia and motion. Newton synthesized these insights into his own comprehensive framework of motion laws, capturing the fundamental idea that forces always come in pairs.
These are some real-life examples where Newton's third law applies. Bouncing a ball. When a ball hits the ground, the ball applies an action force on the ground. The ground applies a reaction force and the ball bounces back. Flight motion of a bird. The wings of the bird push air downwards as action force, and the air pushes the bird upwards as a reaction force. Walking. When you walk, your foot pushes backward against the ground as an action force, and the ground pushes your foot forward with an equal force as a reaction force. This reaction force propels you forward. Swimming. When a swimmer pushes water backward with their hands, the water pushes the swimmer forward with an equal and opposite force, allowing them to move through the water. Rocket launch. A rocket engine expels gases downward as an action force, and the rocket is pushed upward by an equal and opposite force. This is our reaction force. This reaction is what propels the rocket into space.
We're going to demonstrate Newton's third law with a simple experiment you can do with a friend. For this experiment, we need two people. We're both going to gently push each other at the same time. Person 1 and person 2 place their hands in front of each other's hands so their palms are aligned but not touching yet. Now, let's push each other at the same time using the same amount of force. Both people push each other's hands gently as they do. Both will move slightly backward. Equal force in the opposite direction, causing us to move backward. This is Newton's third law in action. The force each person applies on their other is met with an equal and opposite force, making both of us move backward.